tackle systemic racism, this horrible shooting again? How many times do we have to see this in our country? In Tulsa, an unarmed man with his hands in the air? I mean, this is just unbearable, and it needs to be intolerable.
Well, as Harry Houck indicated in the previous segment, when he was shot, it does not appear that his hands were any longer in the air. But Hillary, you know, she brings Michael Brown's mother up on stage at the convention, the mother of a thug, who, you know, to speak, and shunned the Philadelphia cops to the point where they have now endorsed Donald Trump. Joining us now to talk about this and so much more, the panel: David Goodfriend, Democratic strategist, former aide to President Bill Clinton, and Clinton delegate from Maryland, and Jim Hoft, founder of the GatewayPundit.com, conservative blogger, investigative reporter. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you. David, was it appropriate for Hillary to speak before any of the facts are in or any investigation has been done?
Well, it's like when Donald Trump goes to Flint, Michigan, or says to audiences, "Hey, African Americans, what do you have to lose? Vote for me." But on
That's
a day like
absolutely
today,
true
when an
for the
African
people of
American
those
is actually
cities.
shot in cold blood, where is Donald Trump? He's nowhere, and that's why he's going to lose.
All right, that's simplistic, and I don't get it, but I don't know what you want Donald Trump to say. There's got to be an investigation. There's got to be an investigation, David. There's got to be an investigation, David.
Could say if he were serious about trying to get the African American vote, but he's not.
Oh, he should pander like Hillary. I see. Jim, appropriate for Hillary? I mean, it's not surprising. She then went on to say she could talk to white people, us white people, and explain why this is not a good thing and it's racist. Meanwhile, we know nothing. We don't have an investigation yet.
Right. The body hasn't even been buried yet, and Hillary's indicting these officers in Charlotte. And
no, not Charlotte. She was talking about the one in Tulsa.
Oh, okay. By the way, the officer in Charlotte was a black guy. So it just goes on and on and on. And I'm in St. Louis, where we went through the rioting just in 2014, and we're still recovering from that. And of course, Michael Brown was and Officer Darren Wilson was exonerated. Michael Brown was a robber and in all kinds of crimes during that confrontation. So another community is burned to the ground, it looks like.
Let's go to something Donald Trump said. It's along the lines of what, David, you referred to earlier, but this was yesterday. Here's what he said.
Her speeches are so short, though. They don't last long. You know, they're like 10 minutes, let's get out of here. Go back home and go to sleep. 3 days later, she gets up and she does another one and goes back home and goes to sleep. Oh, boy, is ISIS.
I'm glad we watched this.
Brilliant speech making by Donald Trump.
We could get it in a second, but let's go back to what Trump said about the African-American community.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities because our African-American communities are absolutely in the worst shape that they've ever been in before, ever, ever, ever. You take a look at the inner cities, you get no education, you get no jobs, you get shot walking down the street. They're worse. I mean, honestly, places like Afghanistan are safer than some of our inner cities.
All right, David, what's your problem with what he said? I know CNN was, their heads were exploding. What about slavery? Well, he's not talking about slavery. He's talking about African-American inner city neighborhoods as they exist now are really the worst they've been probably ever.
Well, that's a factual assertion, and like so many other things with Donald Trump, he gets the facts wrong.
What's he wrong about, David? What's he wrong about?
Income, if you measure things, you see that there has been progress, just not enough progress. His contention, of course, is that President Obama and mayors have let African Americans down, and he, Donald Trump, is the answer. So again, I go back to what I started with, which is, okay, Donald Trump, we have a real problem in this country. with African American men being disproportionately shot, meaning compared to other populations.
Oh, give me a break.
What are you going to do
They're shot
about
by
it?
other
And of course,
African
this is where
Americans.
Donald Trump suddenly goes silent. It's not easy to silence Donald Trump. He talks a lot.
That's the best you can do, David.
But on this subject, he goes remarkably silent.
No, he doesn't. He supports police, as we all should, until we know the facts. Hillary supports the criminal or the suspect even after we know the facts. Even after we know the facts.
You can see why this fails.
Yeah, okay.
You can see why he's failing.
Jim, obviously, I don't know what world David's living in, but the African-American community, I'm going to play later in my Gimme 5, Louis Farrakhan, who I despise, talking about Obama and saying, your legacy? Your legacy is what's going on in Chicago, the streets of Chicago. That's what the inner cities have become. That's what Trump's talking about. And most African Americans in those inner cities would agree with him.
Exactly. The black community under Obama, there's fewer jobs. There's more youth unemployed. There's higher student dropout. Every statistic is down under Obama. And the thing about Trump, at least he didn't mention Skittles today, or the left would really be having a problem.
What'd you make of that Skittles analogy that Donald Trump Jr. sent out yesterday, David?
Well, I kind of feel like the company themselves, the Skittles, the company that makes Skittles, said the most profound thing of the day. What they said was, we make candy, and you really can't compare human beings to candy. In other words, Donald Trump Jr. was trying to say, I think, there is an element of risk, and so we shouldn't admit any, which is essentially the same argument that was made when Jews on the USS St. Louis were trying to arrive from Europe.
Really?
What was the German spies on board, so we can't admit any of them. So I disagree with the premise, but I think that his inartful statement was really nicely taken down by the Skittles candy company themselves.
How dare you compare Jews fleeing the Holocaust to radical Islamists who want to kill us and are killing us? I don't know if you're Jewish. I think you are. You should be ashamed, Jim.
Syrian men, women, and children, many of whom are innocent. You are calling all of them.
I'm not calling any of them.
That's why you really missed the point.
No. Unbelievable.
No, I mean
David's comparing Jews to these Islamist bombers and
men,
Minnesota,
women, and children, civilians from Syria. You guys are not as stupid as you're making yourself sound right now. Come on, you can do this.
That's unbelievable, David.
You know what? Look, when you're losing and when you're floundering around, you bring up the race card, and as this campaign has done over and over, you bring up the Hitler Nazi card.
Well,
and
actually,
you know what, David? Here's my thing, David.
In case you haven't noticed, we're actually winning.
Oh, yeah, David, in case you haven't noticed, for instance, Nate Silver, Trump is up 45 points in a month in his survey and now has 48% chance of winning. 45 points in a month.
Now,
David, let me ask you a question.
A chance of winning means you're losing.
Okay, let me ask David, you might be statistically ahead in some polls. You're statistically behind.
We're winning.
Excuse me. David, she's a terrible candidate. Your campaign is in free fall. The gap has been closed. And all you do is say Trump's a Nazi, Trump's a racist, Trump's Hitler, and it doesn't work, David.
The two most recent polls, NBC Mara shows her up 5 nationwide. And on the electoral map, Larry Sabato of University of Virginia still has her the heavy favorite to win the Electoral College. So we're winning. I know you hate to hear that, but we're winning. And the reason is because right when Donald Trump has the opportunity to connect with more people, he pushes more people away. It's like that's his pattern. He had a real opportunity to say, look, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to trade, all that stuff was resonating. And then he goes and says something really kind of unappealing to, so much so that George H.W. Bush, the former
I know. George H.W. Bush, whose son...
I mean, I can't make this up.
I know, whose son was lambasted by Donald Trump. I'm shocked that he would be against Donald Trump. Just shocked, David. Jim, your take on Hillary's winning.
Not falling in line behind Trump.
Hillary's in free fall. Everybody knows it. The campaign knows it. She canceled her appearance yesterday. She had a fundraiser in North Carolina. They didn't even give an excuse for it. They just canceled. There's rumors now that she's going to cancel a debate on Monday. Some top conservative wrote me today, and there's rumblings about that.
Dream on.
And she's really going in the wrong direction. She spent $50 million last month and dropped 10 points in the polls. So it's a free fall for Hillary.
But Jim, I want to pursue
this. She's collapsing like she did at 9/11.
Jim, I want to pursue this.
Dream on.
Do you want to name the conservative that told you about the possibly canceling the debate Monday?
He's a leader of a top conservative group in the Midwest. I'll tell you that.
And do you believe that this is a possibility?
Oh,
What's
absolutely.
his name?
Did he give a reason?
He
Wait 1 minute,
yesterday.
David. You'll get yours. Did he give a reason why she would cancel?
There's a couple different reasons, but actually they're concerned about her health, and they're
You can't
concerned
even lie well,
that
man. You
of her
cannot even
performance.
lie well. You're a bad liar. You should try lying better, like Trump.
You think so? You don't think anybody told him this, right, David?
Right, because Hillary Clinton is going to show up at that debate in front of 100 million people. We haven't seen ratings like this. They're predicting it's Super Bowl ratings for this.
I know. All right, guys, I got to go. But Jim isn't lying.
Just to watch her draw.
Jim isn't lying about what he was told. I believe he was told that. Whether it's true or not is another story. Israeli Minister for Science and Technology next. Don't go away.